Hi, my name's Ian Yarwood. I'm a lawyer in Perth, Western Australia. For nearly 3 years now, I've taken a great interest in the murders of David Miller and Hannah Witheridge, and I've also taken a great interest in a lot of other suspicious deaths on the Thai island of Koh Tao. In recent days, a lot of the international media has been reporting that there have been something like 6 or 7 suspicious deaths on Koh Tao in the last 3 years or so. In fact, I've listed 10 deaths. They weren't all in that particular period, and some were more suspicious than others, but I've listed 10 for the sake of creating a meme, and I've borrowed a phrase from the dictator Joseph Stalin. But I've changed some words around, and I've said that the death of one tourist is a tragedy, the death of 10 tourists is a statistic. That's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Joseph Stalin had actually said that the death of one man is a tragedy and the death of 1,000,000 men is a statistic. Some of those names here might not be familiar to you. Ben Harrington was a young man from Britain who died on Koh Tao in 2012. His death was put down as being an accident by the Thai authorities, and it was maintained that he had a motorcycle accident where in fact his injuries seemed to be quite inconsistent with that, and his wallet and other belongings were missing from him after he had died. So I put him down as a suspicious death, and his parents certainly do. Peter Suter was a Swiss man. He was an accomplished diver and swimmer, but he drowned, and his death seemed to be quite mysterious. His body had washed up several days later. There is also the name of another lady above that meme. Her name is Shelley Bott. She was 50 years of age. Her death was clearly an accident. She came from Vancouver, but the alarming thing about her death was that it seems reasonably clear that she was snorkeling with her partner, a fellow by the name of Jack Williams, in a designated swimming area, and it seems that a boat took a shortcut and ran over her, killing her and injuring him. However, a rescue worker at the time by the name of Stephen Dryly, who says that he comes from London and says that he was a former member of the British Armed Forces, he maintains that Shelley Bott was actually in a boat lane. But that seems to be contradicted by a number of people, including Jack Williams himself. Now, one of the things I'm trying to do with this particular video is just clear up a bit of confusion, because a lot of people, including journalists, have said to me that there seems to be a lot of complexity when it comes to Koh Tao. And I think that Koh Tao isn't really complex once you understand that there is a pattern of misinformation that comes from not just the Thai authorities such as the police. There's misinformation that also comes from expats who live and work on the island. Once you understand that, understanding some of the deaths becomes much easier. So today I'm just going to look at some of the things that Stephen Dryly has said, and I won't go into a great deal of detail. People are able to refer back to my Twitter account, and this is my Twitter account here. I'll just zoom in. So there's my Twitter account, and this is a tweet which is back from the 6th of July 2017. Today is the 10th of July 2017, and I'm going to be examining 3 specific cases where it seems that Mr. Dryly has misrepresented some deaths. Now, I'm very happy for Mr. Dryly to correct me on any of these, and I'll make any corrections public. In relation to Shelley Bott, if we scroll down here, we can click on here. So this is really ideal for those of you who've got a Twitter account. If we open this up, we can see that this is what she looked like. Apparently she was a very fit lady, and she performed some martial arts, but she got run over by a boat. And I've referred to 3 separate accounts of how she had died. This is an initial report from the Samui Times. And this particular report was interesting because it was based very much on what Stephen Dryly said. And so the Samui Times basically reported what he'd said, but it appears that that was incorrect. So we go back again and we scroll down. And what I maintain here is that this seems to be a case of manslaughter. Here's another article here which people can click into. So this is another picture of her. So people are free to have a look at this, and they can get a bit of an idea of the circumstances of her death. I'll just click back again. I'm just showing you how to maneuver around my account. And at the very bottom here, this one's very interesting because Jack Williams makes it fairly clear in this that he believes that she was run over. If you can read this, it says there are areas roped off that boats. I'll let you read that. So that was her demise. Now, in relation to another fellow, Luke Miller, so I've jumped from number 1 to number 3 here. In relation to Luke Miller, there is a very interesting article that appeared in the Samui Times, in which the editor of the Samui Times published part of an attack that Mr. Dryly made against the Samui Times, in which Mr. Dryly was maintaining that Mr. Luke Miller had died after jumping off a building and hitting his head. However, there were some screenshots with some text messages from Mr. Dryly that he made at the time of the death. It was fairly clear from the screenshots, and I'll let you investigate those for yourselves. It was very clear from the screenshots that Mr. Dryly reported that there were a number of bumps on Mr. Luke Miller's head. So he said that Luke Miller didn't jump off the building and hit his head unless he bounced several times. And he also made it clear that it seemed to him that Luke Miller had been in a fight. And this is something which the British coroner really should have known, and it's information that should have been brought to, evidence that should have been brought to her attention at the inquest. And then finally, Elise Dallamagna, which is a name which is in the news at the moment, she died on Koh Tao. That's where her body was found, and for all intents and purposes, people accept that she died on Koh Tao. However, Mr. Dryly has maintained, and he's put comments into the Samui Times to the effect that Elise had actually been found dead on Koh Phangan, which is another island. So there's 3 examples that make it fairly clear that Mr. Dryly had been more than a bit economical with the truth. So the point that I'm making, that he's just one of several expats on Koh Tao who are economical with the truth. And when we have expats who are economical with the truth and the Thai authorities who are economical with the truth, we have to really doubt what they're saying, and it clears up some of the confusion. We can simply start to say, well, we have to put very little weight on some of the things that they have to say, especially when it's inconsistent with the physical evidence. Well, thank you for listening to this. I hope you find it enjoyable. And if you wish to go to my Twitter page, that is it there. I invite you to go on and have a bit of a look around and investigate the things I'm saying. I've only been scratching the surface here, but that is an example of one person who has been trying to mislead the public. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of your day.